Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Spurs take on Luton Town. So it's 5th against 17th. Luton just outside the relegation places after that points deduction for Nottingham Forest. 1 point clear of the drop zone as play gets underway today. They've got a tough task, you would imagine, against Spurs. Although Spurs are a team that can be got at. They like to go forward, which means they can sometimes leave themselves open at the back. But it's almost like Ange Postecoglou's side are sort of banking on themselves to always outscore their opposition. And let's see how it goes this afternoon. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and John Hogan taking you through the action. John, it's a game that Luton need to win, but it's going to be a tough one, you'd imagine.
I think for them all games are tough. You know, I don't know about you, but I thought it would sink like a stone. But they're competing, you know, and they've played ever so well. There's been heartbreak along the way. Fancy being 3 goals up and then losing, you know. But they've kept on scoring goals. I mean, you know, you've got to give credit to what Rob Edwards has done. But again, it's going to be a tall order against a team who on paper look a lot better than them. Whether they can get a tune out of them today or put the Spurs under pressure, I'm not certain. But I don't know if they keep coming back for more. I keep thinking other hearts will be broken by this, that, the other. But Luton keep coming back for more. They've got spirit about them.
They certainly do, but they're going to need that spirit over the next month or so because after Spurs away today, they're away to Arsenal in midweek. Then they're at home to Bournemouth next weekend before the small matter of a trip to Manchester City on the 13th of April. So there's some really tough games coming up for Luton. Spurs in possession. They've got Guillermo Beccaria in goal, a back four of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Radu Dragusin and Destiny Udogie. Yves Bissouma and Pape Sarr are the 2 holder midfielders with Dejan, Kulusevski, James Maddison and Timo Werner as the attacking midfield 3 playing behind Heung-Min Son for Luton. Seen a couple of variations in terms of their formation, but it is Thomas Kaminski in goal. We think it's going to be a back four of Issa Diop, Teden Mengi, Reece Burke and Alfie Doherty. 3 in midfield are Luke Berry, Pelly Mapanzu and Ross Barkley with Andros Townsend, Tatih Chong and Carlton Morris as the attacking 3. Spurs on the attack now. The Kulusevski gets to the edge of the area. His pass is just a little bit wayward for Pape Sarr, and Son couldn't save it either. And now former Spurs man Andros Townsend is herring off down the right-hand side here for the visitors. He gets all the way to the edge of the area. He wants it on that trusty left foot. He tries it with the right foot. It's not a bad ball at all. And he finds Barkley, who goes across goal. And it's Tatih Chong! And it's in the back of the net. Luton in front after just 2.5 minutes. And it's a lovely counter-attacking goal. All Spurs did really was misplace a pass at the edge of the opposition penalty area. And then Andros Townsend did virtually all of the rest.
Yeah, it's a great goal from the Hatters' point of view. Tatih Chong, a really good strike into the corner. I mean, nothing there that Vicario can do. But what shabby play from Tottenham to get there. Like, yeah, Andros Townsend picks it up. You say, ex-Spurs player. Right, you know, so what? Do you get the freedom of the park then because he used to play for them? It's like he rides too strongly. Firstly, he just nicks the ball. He's done well there, and you think, oh, okay. You've got a would-be challenger comes out. Is that Pape Sarr? But he just, you know, goes right past him. I mean, it's a real poor attempt to stop him at that point. Might even have been Bissouma. You know, the marking is virtually non-existent. Everybody's ball watching for Tottenham. It doesn't look like anybody cares, does it? You know, the ball's cut across and Chong's by himself. So there are all sorts of questions. Where's Porro?
Where is Pedro Porro? Where is Destiny Udogie? Because he was supposed to be the left back. He was never in the picture at all. It's almost like he got forward for that attack where Son lost the ball, and he never even came back into the picture. It was Bissouma that had a very half-hearted effort of trying to stop Townsend. But it was you've got to credit Luke Berry as well because he was in the penalty area. He could have tried to force a shot, but he just played it square and he found Tatih Chong, and it was an excellent finish from Chong as well. Yeah,
what I like about that is the endeavour of Luton. You know, it's all right. Sometimes you think even early doors, like, let's dig in, like, you know, let's keep it quiet early doors. They're not there to shut them down. They're there to go and score their goals, which is what they've done again. Bodies in the box. They support the attacks. They have bodies in there, and when you do that, you know, anything can happen. And it was a good, tidy finish. But there's hardly a challenge. You know, I don't like fouls particularly, but I think Bissouma's got to take one for the team there. Just launch into Townsend and bring him down.
Well, as I say, he should have realised just how many players there were in the box. And although it wasn't like a brisk counter-attack from Luton, they certainly were on the counter after Spurs had been on the attack. Spurs did have a throw-on at the edge of the Luton penalty area. It reaches Ross Barkley, though, and he clears that one upfield.
I mean, we mentioned Destiny Udogie there. Do you know what? All the talk about inverting fullbacks and all that. and he may well, and we can see where he is right now. He's stood in midfield, well over the halfway line. But guess what? That doesn't make you a great left back, does it? You know, he stood in the wrong position. They want him to do that. He can't get back and be in that position. If Pape Sarr's on the left-hand side of the two holders, then we didn't see him. It meant Bissouma came across and he was really half-hearted. But there you go. The thing for Luton is they can score goals, but unfortunately for them, they concede a lot.
They do, and that's what Spurs are going to try and capitalise on as this game wears on. But it is, I mean, as I say, Spurs effectively play with wing-backs and only have two centre-backs. They really are trying to expand on their attacking options as Son now gets towards the edge of the area, holds the ball up, rolls it back here for Werner, who puts a high cross into the penalty area, and there's a header down there from Pape Sarr. Tell you what, if he had scored from that, I think they would have caused an inquest in the Luton defence because he was the only Spurs player in the box. He shouldn't have really had such an easy jump for the ball.
I'll tell you the other thing. Do you know, if in the game before this we'd have seen somebody score a bicycle kick or somebody score from the halfway line, you tend to get that replicated in the game because everyone watches it and thinks, oh yeah, you know. And so they watch the game with a lot of goals and think, oh yeah, I'd like to score. Look how many Spurs players forward already. But the problem for them is that they think it's going to be a walk in the park or we'll outscore them. They might well do today, but you know it's a really bad start if defending like they have.
Well, there's a chance here for Spurs as Werner brings the ball forward. He tries to stab it through into the penalty area. Kulusevski was out to try and get a touch on that. He's actually got a touch on the goalkeeper as well, so he may get a bit of a delay here now as Luton's Belgian keeper with the Polish surname, Thomas Kaminski, down on the ground. And we'll wait and see whether or not anything serious has happened to him here, because it was a decent pass here from Werner. And I mean, I would argue Kulusevski's got a right to go for that, or is he just a little bit late?
He's maybe a little bit late. I don't know if Kaminski's down because he's definitely hurt, or because...
Take the sting out of Spurs' attacking possession.
Well, bits and pieces of that. I think he genuinely looks hurt, actually. But my other thought was that, you know, if VAR needs to look and the referee needs to make his decision about cards or whatever, it doesn't hurt that he stays down. That's being cynical, but it does look like he got caught there.
He does, yeah. I mean, Tim Krul is warming up, of course. The veteran Dutch keeper is Luton's second choice. Now, I remember going back quite a few years. He had an incredible game here for Newcastle at, I think that was actually at the old White Hart Lane still, where I think he set a Premier League record for the amount of saves he made in that game. But as I say, certainly Luton will be hoping that their first choice keeper can get back on his feet. The camera is now focusing on the Luton goal scorer. We're seeing a replay again from another angle here as Townsend, and to see Udogie is running in centre mid from where he should have been on that left-hand side. Nobody gets near Barkley, and nobody gets near Chong either. It's a really good counter-attacking goal, but Spurs had plenty of opportunities to try and make that more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, even the player slightly behind Bissouma was their captain. I mean, I know he's supposed to be, the lone striker perhaps today, but he could have made a bid to get to the byline. You know, Yves Bissouma is tracking Andros Townsend, who's taking him out wide. But I'm thinking that, you know, Son Heung-Min is close enough there just to run straight and get to the byline and block a possible cutback. So, you know, by all, so many players are really culpable. Saying, what are you doing? You know, why were you lazy? Why didn't you hair back? It was mass complacency, really. And Tatih Chong, he's a really good player, you know, really talented. I don't think he gets 90 minutes. You know, he seems to last about an hour and then he goes out like a light. I was interested looking at his career. I don't remember him at Manchester United, but he had a few games for them. He's definitely got the quality to be in the top flight. But like I said, I'm not sure he ever looks like he's got quite enough about him to last 90 minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, he's an interesting player, Tatih Chong. As I say, he is Dutch international, albeit born in Curaçao, actually in the capital there, Willemstad, the Dutch Caribbean island. But yeah, he was at Manchester United, never really had the chance. Well, he had a few chances, but he couldn't really bed down and get himself a place in the first team. But yeah, it was a really confident finish for him. 9 minutes on the clock, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. And as we look across, it's the only game in the Premier League so far in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. And in case you didn't hear, Newcastle, we finished the game with 10 men. Managed to beat West Ham 4-3 in an incredible game at St James's Park. Newcastle led, then West Ham equalised, and they were 3-1 up at one point before Newcastle managed to get it back to 3-3 and eventually win the match. Substitutions were a big factor in that game, but here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Luton had one counter-attack, and other than that, it's all Spurs. inside the Luton half, trying to get closer and closer to that penalty area. Christian Romero now joining in the midfield possession. Short ball here to Bissouma. And then Pedro Porro out towards the right-hand side. He gets the ball back as well. He's got Kulusevski in support on the overlap. He's being marked by Chong, but Kulusevski's able to get a ball back towards the edge of the penalty area. It's back with Romero again. Luton holding a tight offside line just at the edge of their box. Spurs not really able to find a way to get that ball into the penalty area. Eventually going back towards the halfway line here for Dragusin. Now a quick ball to Son, who dropped a little bit deeper. He carries on his run and goes on the overlap down the right-hand side. He's been marshalled here by Peli Mapanzu. Gets a ball into the box. Kulusevski then tries to cut it back. Just too many Luton bodies in the way. And I think it's actually Townsend doing a bit of defending that clears it out, either for a throw or maybe even a corner.
Yeah, they're under a lot of pressure now, aren't they? They've scored and they're getting pushed back. And not only that, but Tottenham, who we thought were playing 4-2-3-1, are kind of not. It's very cavalier. They're sort of all-out attack, aren't they? Really. So they're forced and committed to push Luton back.
They've got themselves a corner kick now of Spurs. It's going to be an outswinger from the right-hand side. Oh, it nearly found its way towards Christian Romero. And then they're trying a quick counter here down the right. That's not a particularly good ball, though, from Diop. He could have done a bit more to try and clear that one. It's then played into the penalty area before it's quickly played away. Header away there from Kabore. And eventually it will go out of play, but it might just stay in play. In fact, Dragusin lets it go out of play. And it will be a throw to the home side, taken very quickly. If it carries on like this, you'd imagine Spurs, just by sheer weight of pressure, are going to get a clear-cut chance. But Luton will obviously be looking for that next counter-attack. If Spurs are sending pretty much their entire outfield 10 up for a bit of attacking possession, then Luton should get their chances. But just as I say that, Udogie cuts out a pass that was meant for Reece Burke, and he's charging towards the penalty area. That's good defending, though, from Teden Mengi. Puts it out, and it might actually stay in play. That's really good play in the end, because I think it was Berry then back by the edge of his own penalty area, plays that ball off Udogie, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny Udogie was flying there, wasn't he? But once Mengi got going, he was more than equal to that pace. And I think Teddy Mengi's had a good season. I look at all their players and I think, well, with all due respect to Luton, why are you at Luton? Maybe he's a young centre-back, that's one thing. Okay, so the more experience, the better. The other thing, he's only scraping 6 foot. It's a little concern of mine. I think Premier League, ideally, you're 6'2", 6'3", But I think he's had a really good season. It seemed like at the start of the season they needed Lockyer to organise them all, Osho and Mengi. But I think he's getting better as the games progress. But he'll have a lot to do today. He
will. Teden Mengi, another former Manchester United man who never really had much of an impact at Old Trafford. But yeah, of course, you mentioned that Tom Lockyer, such a big part of Luton Town, of course, had that terrible situation in the playoff final, and then replicating itself earlier this season as well. But certainly there's a spirit about Tom Lockyer, there's a spirit about Luton that you really can't ignore. And I think John made that point at the start of the game, that I think most people expected Luton to have a brave go, but not really get too many points. And actually, it's teams that did better than Luton last season in the Championship, Sheffield United and especially Burnley, who actually had a really nice sort of flowing style of play in the Championship. They've just not been able to replicate it at all this season.
Yeah, well, they had a lot of loan players, didn't they? And a lot of those guys who were their best players had to go back to parent clubs and then moved on, like Nathan Teller, then moved on again. So
Matson as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they were their better players, really. But anyway, I mean, there is a real togetherness about the Hatters. Whether that'll be enough. I mean, when we saw Luke Berry score his goal, incredible. Played in all the divisions, and only Robert Earnshaw, I think, has done that before. But stuff like that is to be proud of. They might end up being a bit of a Blackpool where they might go down this season. You don't know. But for my money, they've given it their best possible shot.
Well, just as we say that, Luton did get towards the possession of midfield. They've given the ball away. And it's a quick ball played towards Werner, whose strike goes just past the post. That's what Luton have to be careful of. It's all well and good when you're soaking up pressure when Spurs are outside your penalty area. But Luton actually managed to edge forward, and they got towards the halfway line. They lost the ball, and that allowed Spurs to play a quick ball. Just see who it was. It was Kulusevski with a fantastic left-footed pass, pinging it towards the edge of the area, and Werner very nearly equalised.
Yeah, on a play And you know what? Your dog is waiting for the cutback, and it should have gone to him. Either that or you finish it. Had it been Son Heung-min on an either foot, I'd have fancied the back of the net.
He scuffed that a little bit as well. We can see that. He pushed that a little bit with the left foot.
He really did, and it sort of come off side foot, ankle, that kind of thing. Bobbled 2 or 3 times before it squirted past the goalkeeper and past his post, but real lack of conviction, and that is Timo Werner, in a nutshell, isn't it? Really,
Yeah, it's the sort of same school as the Arsenal, of course. The player that they've got, Kai Havertz, who's a technical forward who's got all the skill, but he's not really quite technical enough to be a winger and not enough of a goal scorer to be a striker. And Dragusin there giving a free kick away, clattering into Carlton Morris. Just to tell you, there is one other goal in the Premier League in the 3 o'clock kickoffs now, and it's come at the City Ground, where Nottingham Forest are trailing to Crystal Palace from a goal scored by Jean-Philippe Mateta, which will certainly be good news to Luton.
Yeah, it will, but I'm sure the Luton fans won't be getting ahead of themselves. They realise more than anybody else, I think, this season. It's topsy-turvy. But like I said, these kids have given it such a good go. Whether they step or go down, I think the fans won't lose, patience or faith with what Rob Edwards has done. I think he's done a great job and given a real opportunity. And they've scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. Easier said than done.
Absolutely. But it was a foul on Morris, and it's Doherty now with the free kick. He floats it towards the edge there. It was headed on by Morris. It's still kept alive inside the box by Reece Burke. It's then played back towards Townsend, who's found himself on the left-hand side this time. He just plays a short ball in towards Burke, who then fires one into the 6-yard box. Dragusin goes for it. Morris goes for it as well. And I think in the end, our referee, Jared Gile, points it's going to be a corner.
Do you know what? They're absolutely asleep. So sloppy when they need to defend. Just a simple ball around the corner. But where's the marking? I don't blame Romero. He stopped Townsend. He's not going to get past him. But he just jabs it around the corner, and then nobody reads it. It's like absolute ball watching.
It took a clearance from Maddison in the end in the box to put that out for a corner.
Who are the leaders at this Tottenham team? Yeah, you'd think Romero, he's vice captain. But you know what? They need a few more voices in there, don't they?
They do. They've got a bit of defending to do now here from this set piece. There are a couple of tall players here in this Luton 11. It's an out-swinging corner. Loads of height on it as well. It eludes everyone inside the penalty area. Now Luton have got to be careful because Spurs can hit them on the counter. And it's with Kulusevski, who's off down the left-hand side. He feeds a ball into Werner, who's already been marshalled here by Kabore. And that's a great challenge from Issa Kabore. Waited, didn't panic, and just made sure it goes out for a throw.
Well, if we said his parent club's Man City, then you sort of understand the quality you've just seen. Keeps pay. And Timo Werner's a real scampering, real quick player, but he wasn't fazed by that. Just bided his time.
Throw into the penalty area, taken down by Son. Back to Doggy on the left-hand side, and now Bissouma plays one across the middle here to Pape Sarr. Spurs around 30 yards out. They've actually gone a long way back now towards the halfway line. Christian Romero holding this one up. And he's got Dragusin as a square option. Luton again, just making it a little bit more difficult for Spurs. But the ball has gone down the right-hand side. Kulusevski back to Pedro Porro. Dragusin again, about 45 yards out, being closed down by Berry. Then Dragusin's pass hits straight into Bissouma. Gets a bit of luck that he's able to then head that one back to Romero. So over on the right-hand side now, Pedro Porro getting a pass from Kulusevski. It's now Pape Sarr, square to Son. Son trying to find some space to get into the box, but a combination of Townsend and Berry were able to dispossess him. And now it's Townsend off down the right-hand side here for Luton, being marshalled and eventually pushed by Destiny Udogie. And that sort of free kick on the halfway line is music to Luton's ears.
Yeah, it's good enough. He just got goal side. He realised that Udogie's probably got the pace. He was never going to burst down the field this time. But again, it's another good counter-attack. They've used the ball wisely when they've had it. They've not seen a lot of it. I still think, for me, they could easily lose the game and get hammered. And here they go again, a real opportunity.
Oh, his Son's through and he's round the goalkeeper, and it's off one post and the other is still out. If Werner with a chance from the rebound, it's stopped on the line, and then it's Pape Sarr with a strike. It's also stopped on the line, and somehow Spurs don't score, but that's surely got to be the closest any team goes without actually getting a goal in a situation like that.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't score. I mean, honestly, when Son breaks through, I thought, right, hand it over to Paul and he'll be describing a goal. But no, I mean, he's dead unlucky, I've got to say there, Son. It beats the keeper, waited, was patient, took it around the keeper, then hits the post. But when the ball bounces back, I'm thinking, well, here we go. If that wasn't a definite, this one is. And then I thought, oh no, it's Timo Werner. Somehow he won't end up at the back of the net, and he didn't. But then he breaks out a third time, and you just think, oh, well, this will be it. But 3 good chances all in one go. Did he hit 2 posts there?
He hit both posts. Then Werner's effort, which looked like it was going on target, was charged down by Kabore before the final effort was stopped and then played out into midfield. But Kaminski comes out quickly. Son keeps his composure. He's worried about the defender stopping the ball going across the goal, so he beats him at the near post. He hits the near post and then hits off the other post and goes back into the middle. But I suppose from Spurs' point of view, whilst that is very frustrating, they haven't sort of panicked. They're still trying to play the same way that they always would do, and you just feel that with the amount of possession that they've got, they're going to get another chance like that sooner or later.
Yeah, I think inevitable. How did they not score? Fancy hitting the post twice with one shot, but my other thought about that is that, Luton were carved apart. The first movement was great. Second one, they got bodies back, and actually the final shot was blocked by Reece Burke, and it's a brilliant, bodies on the line sort of block, they lack a bit of quality, but
that move all started from them playing a crossfield ball and then being caught in possession in midfield. They could have avoided that whole Spurs attack if they could have just been a little bit more composed in how they were playing the ball away. But they've given a free kick away. It's still around about the halfway line here, which has been taken short by Romero. Chelsea, by the way, have taken the lead against Burnley. It's Disasi we're hearing that scored the goal, but now we're hearing there's a VAR check in that game, so potentially it may still be 0-0 between Chelsea and Burnley. We'll confirm in just a moment. Although you never know with VAR, it might be more than a moment. But in any case, we'll see whether or not that goal does stand. It is still goalless between Bournemouth and Everton. And it is still goalless between Sheffield United and Fulham. Just to remind you, Villa against Wolves and Brentford against Manchester United are the 5:30 and 8 p.m. kickoffs respectively this evening, both available on our service as Kaminski plays a long ball from the edge of his own penalty area. It's a bit of a wide angle there from the Belgian keeper, and it's out for a throw to Spurs down the left-hand side. Udogie back to Dragusin. And Maddison very nearly caught in possession there by Ross Barkley. Just about manages to keep the ball. Now it's Romero back to Vicario. Spurs really are seeing a lot of the ball. Just looking at very quickly at the possession stats for this game so far. 76-24. Spurs have had 3 efforts. None of them have been on target. I suppose that the 2 efforts that were blocked were still seen as being too far away to tell if they were on target or not. But it's a long ball from Dragusin now, and it's Pape Sarr of all people who's got furthest forward. He plays one across the 6-yard box, and Kulusevski was the closest one to it, but in the end, he couldn't quite get on the end of it. Luton play the ball away from their own box, and now they try and go on the counter down the left-hand side. Doty was there on the overlap, but for the time being, Berry just quite happy to hold on to that ball in midfield and eventually playing it back towards his own defensive line. Burke now going square to Kabore. And it's with Townsend down the right-hand side. He's got himself into a bit of a cul-de-sac there. The former Spurs man, but he's able to get it back. By the way, that goal at Stamford Bridge doesn't count. It's been chalked off by VAR. So it is still goalless between Chelsea and Burnley. But here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is Spurs 0, Luton 1. We are at 23 minutes. And it will be John to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, so Luton doing fairly well, but the sort of tide seems to have turned on them, if ever it was in their favour, and you just get the feeling that they could get swamped. Again, Tottenham are on the attack, this time down the right. I think Kulusevski probably been their best player, but that wasn't a good ball for Pedro Porro. He just smashed down the field. The fullbacks are definitely inverting, if you like, for Tottenham. Both making inroads on the inside, but that narrowness still led to the first goal. When you consider that Luton are playing with a wing-back today, it's a lot of work for Andros Townsend. But he hurdled a non-existent challenge of Yves Bissouma, got a decent ball in, and then just Luton, with lots of bodies in the box, had too much. And real ball watching from Tottenham has led to the Luton goal, and that what separates the two teams. Weirdly, I think Postecoglou would be quite happy, apart from the fact that you need to be a bit sharper when you're defending, but actually going forward, I think he'd be pleased about the bits and pieces they've created.
Yeah, he will, because his approach is that he wants his side to go forward. He wants his side to win games by actually taking it to the opposition. And I say I do like Postecoglou's style. I think that sometimes it can be a little bit too gung-ho, but then at the same time you have to admire him that he sticks to his principles. I mean, that crazy game they had against Chelsea springs to mind, where they were down to 9 men, but they had an offside line on the halfway line. They didn't care. They were still trying to take Chelsea on. They got punished for it in that game, but it's the way that Postecoglou wants his team to actually play.
Yes, right. Did it? His Celtic team were very similar. Obviously, you've got a strong hand if you're the Celtic manager in the Scottish Premiership, but I thought the players that he brought in were scampers, front foot type of players, and they were a credit to him. Here's something similar. When Timo Werner arrives at Tottenham, I'm thinking he's in the same mould as a Dyson Maeda for Celtic. That kind of thing, work rate, desire to get forward, and the odd goal as well. We're saying he's not. Front rank as a striker, and he's not, is he? Because that's been tried and tested. But he's got a lot going for him. Carl Morris defending from the front there. He didn't allow Romero easy passage, and it will be Spurs with a throw deep in their own territory. And he'll leave that one for Porro, who's looking down the line. Nobody seems to be showing for him. Eventually gets the ball back from Pape Sarr. He's closed down. And at the moment, Luton able to take a breather. They've been under massive pressure, but I just think this little flat passage of play, I don't know where. I mean, the fans don't look that invested at the minute, do they? They've created enough, maybe just waiting and expecting because it's Luton that they're going to create. But it seems to be quiet there, I think.
It's almost like that first wave of we're Spurs, we're going to get back into this game. We've had a few chances. Maybe that sort of double chance they had just a few moments ago has just sort of taken the wind out of their sails, because Luton are still able to maintain their 1-0 lead in this game. And now, as you say, things are opening up for Luton. They're actually trying to play a little bit inside the Spurs half, although Berry's pass to Mapanzu is blocked, and here comes Son.
Yeah, driving forwards a lot, developing down the left-hand side, but he can't find him with a ball like that. Right-footed, the angle wasn't great, and he's upset with himself.
Well, I think he has to be. There's no one to blame there. I think in an ideal world, if Son could have left that ball and then fed it through to Maddison, perhaps he would have picked him up. But we're seeing this chance again. So unlucky. I mean, it just in terms of the physics of being able to hit a football so that it hits one post, goes along the line, and then hits the other one is actually quite a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, my other thought about it is, when Timo Werner runs onto the ball, and it's like there's one blocker because he's all right foot. He hasn't got the nous to drag it onto his left and then just find an angle for somebody to tap it in or make life easy for himself if he's got a left foot. But he has no left foot, so his body's opened up, and I just think, he ain't gonna score. I don't know what it is about him, but anyway, he's on the ball right now, Timo Werner. Again, he gets it onto his right. Again, Maddison straightens up, and here they go again. Tottenham into the box. Udogie puts the ball across the face. It's dangerous, but he's not put anybody on that. So as good as that might have looked off the boot, if you don't find a colleague at this level, it's a waste of time. As the ball eventually is smashed clear by Mengi toward the halfway line. But I think that Spurs get the equaliser in this half, Paul.
I certainly think that the amount of attacking possession, the chances, the crosses they're putting in, the good chances that they've had, all of those things combined. On the other hand, you've got Luton with one counter-attacking goal, one corner kick and one half chance. So Spurs would say that just on the balance of play, they are due an equaliser at some point, but the longer they don't get it, the more Luton are going to grow in confidence.
Yeah, here is Chong. Yeah, it's I better revise what I was thinking there, because I think Spurs score the first half. Whether Luton gets another goal or not is an entirely different matter, and they'll keep on going. Anyway, Romero goes back to his keeper. We've hardly mentioned Vicario apart from picking the ball out of the back of the net.
Well, he's had virtually nothing to do. There was one corner apart from that, one quick counter where his defenders got rid of the ball. And other than that, he's had nothing to do. And Spurs trying to go here again now with Dragusin.
Yeah, quite speedy there, driving forward as Werner now looks to put the cross in, but he's left foot for standing on, and that was blocked away. He's not finding it easy against Kabore, who can match him for pace.
He can. Kabore's a quick and is a strong player as well. I did like the fact that after Dragusin went on that run, he passed to Werner and then stayed at the edge of the area. It was like he was part of that attack now. I'm assuming that would have meant that Udogie was going to have to stay a bit further back. But it just shows you if centre-backs have got the licence to just go on an attack like that, it really does mean that Postecoglou is trying to get that into all of his players.
Yeah, I've seen Dragusin play recently for Romania. I wasn't over impressed by him, to be honest. But there,
I mean, he wouldn't be playing for Spurs if everybody was fit. If Van der Ven was fit, then he wouldn't be in the team, would he?
No. Here, Chong, when he just drives past the first would-be challenger. Not a great effort from Kulusevski, but he's not really in for that. Then he got a little bit tight on Doughty, and he's adjudged to turn the ball out, which he may or may not have done. But anyway, he looks a bit crestfallen, suggests that it just didn't go his way there. And, we've hit the half-hour mark. So far today, Paul's done commentary on 8 Premier League goals, which is quite the day. And
not bad for not even 3 full halves of football, and that's going well. But looking at the other scores everywhere else, it does seem as though we may have used up our credits with that earlier game. But Wolves, Villa against Wolves, I think, has the potential to have a few goals in it. And last season, Brentford beat Man United 4-0. I don't think they're going to repeat that this time around. But there should be a few goals in those late games as well. As Ross Barkley is going to get a booking here. Our referee, Jared Gile, is not taking any arguments. It was a strong challenge there on James Maddison. Could say the former England man fouling the current one. But as Barkley, he's still down after a previous challenge. And well, he goes for the ball, but I think the referee just decided to set it maybe a little bit too. I'm not sure that's a booking, though.
No, it's not a booking. And then the other thing is, I thought he was fouled just before his last-ditch challenge on Maddison. He was closer to getting the ball than the fouler on him. Do you know what I mean? And then he gets the yellow card. I'm not a big fan of our referee.
Well, I'm not. Well, to say it's difficult to find a thing between us. We're not a fan of many of the Premier League referees. I mean, Rob Jones did the earlier game, and I thought there were a few passages there where he could have done a bit better in terms of controlling the game. But Spurs are certainly controlling the game here, and it's ball down the left-hand side here for Destiny Udogie. Yeah,
and he's at the edge of the box, into the box, and then he's looking for the cutback. But that was quite well defended, I felt, there by Luke Berry. Done a job. The ball goes out, will be a throw for Tottenham, deep in Luton territory. So, Luton in their dark strip today. Red socks and Spurs all white. Big contrast between them in all sorts of respects, really. But here another counter-attack, and again, it's Andros Townsend. And again, he's got one of those holding midfielders chasing after him. This time it's Sarr. Again, it's no great attempt. He just swings the ball in at will. But this time, some good defending, and now a scamper from the captain. And Son Heung-min is on his bike, way over the halfway line. He's got Werner left. I wouldn't bother with that. He switches the ball to Maddison, cuts it, then finds Werner in the box now. An opportunity held up by Kabori, but it's a poor cutback that. And he found a black shirt rather than a white one. Then Chong is destroyed from behind by Kulusevski, and it's an obvious and clear free kick. And again, Kulusevski may be a lucky boy. No great attempt to play the ball there.
No, I mean, I suppose the fact that the referee may have seen that as more of a body check than a trip, but even so, the fact that it's not much of an attempt to play the ball, it's borderline yellow card on that basis. But referee deciding that just a free kick is enough for now. Looking at Kaminski, he seems to be moving around fine. There was a little bit of a worry after that earlier collision with Kulusevski. The keeper's moving around fine, and we've just got 12 minutes to go now. So Luton, so far, so good.
Yeah, they've done all right, haven't they? Like I say, you watch them, and I just thought I did think they'd sink like a stone this season, and I thought there could be some embarrassing records and all that. I was just pondering what they had to offer, but it's been a good offering to the Premier League. I saw them early in the season with Tom Lockyer captain in the defence. I thought it was a real struggle, but I think they've used what's happened to their captain and. Almost used that to spur them on in a way. There are more important things than football, but this is what they're doing. This is their career. You feel like they're doing it for Tom in many respects when you watch him, and I'm sure that when they're having the team talk ahead of the game that he's not far from thoughts, Anyway, it is with Kabore into and Panzu in the middle of the park, just getting a feel of the ball. Paul pointed out possession stats were about 10 minutes ago about 70% for Tottenham, and I don't think they'd be that much different.
72-28 as it stands. Spurs with 5 efforts. One of them has been on target. Luton with 2 efforts. One of them was on target. And it is still Spurs 0, Luton 1, and it's still Forest 0, Palace 1. They're the only goals in the 3 o'clock kickoff so far today.
Yeah, so, if you could freeze time, take a snapshot, then Luton would be saying, "Great, we'll take it." But it doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, like I said, Tatih Chong scored. He's not going to last 90 minutes, and it tends to be that if you don't have a strong bench, if you're not replacing like for like when the subs come on, then all of a sudden it is a struggle. And I've seen Luton be brilliant for 70, 80 minutes of a game, and then completely fall off the wagon. Last 10, 15, even 20 minutes they get now. So that's their problem, is maybe they don't last. Although I'd have to say that today, I think it's a more measured performance from them. As Ross Barkley wins the ball high up the field, he's got an opportunity. He can't find a way through Pape Sarr. In fact, it was Bissouma. And now the counter-attack is on. Maddison was getting the hold back, and that's got to be a card, surely. Burke just held him back there. You can't do that. And I think he got shown yellow, did he?
I think he has done. I didn't like the fact that Maddison was immediately sort of dictating to the referee that should be a yellow card. I mean, it is a yellow card, there's no doubt about it. He's grabbed the opponent's shirt with no attempt to go for the ball, so it's an easy decision, and Burke's got to be careful now.
Yeah, I don't see there's that much difference in what Kulusevski just did to Tatih Chong.
Oh, absolutely. I think it may be the position on the pitch, as in it's on the halfway line and you're starting a counter-attack. It doesn't excuse the fact that when an opposition defender is trying to clear the ball and you foul him, that should be a booking as well, because in theory you're stopping a counter-attack by doing that. But as I say, we won't get into a debate about two-tier refereeing, because we'll be here all day. But here comes Spurs now with the ball up towards Bissouma.
Yeah, and he holds on to it pretty well, and he feeds the ball through, and in the end the ball ends up back at the feet of the goalkeeper, Kaminski, there. Just waiting, his defenders just making Son Heung-Min, the meat and the sandwich there. They've done just enough, but within the laws of the game, to close him down. It's a good little through ball. I thought that Maddison propelled himself for England in the last game they played. Southgate's using him sparingly, but I think when he's come on, he's shown he can be a difference maker. And
he can. I mean, Southgate's style of play doesn't really sort of allow for an out-and-out number 10 in that sense. But I think that there's certainly scope to have a number 10 in that England team. And Maddison, with his ability and set plays, with the sort of the passing he can find in the final third, for players like Kane and Tony and Watkins waiting for the ball, it's surely got to be a good thing.
Yeah, he can unpick a lot, can't he? Here he is again, outside of the boots, a good pass out to the left-hand side. An opportunity then for Timo. Werner seen plenty of the ball. Right football to the far post, not bad at all. It breaks back then. Porro then just steadies down. Now Romero maybe thinking about a strike. Nobody comes to press him. He gets a good ball out to the right-hand side for Kulusevski. Lays it back to Porro, gets it out of his feet. Scrapes a ball there. I don't think he an attempted shot there with his left boot. But anyway, Maddison picks it up. I think it's just going to be a goal kick, isn't it? Did it take a deflection?
I think it did, yeah.
Must have done. They're all getting prepared for a corner kick. Luton aren't a big side, are they? I guess, Morris he's strong. He's only 6'1", though. I think Reece Burke at 6'2", their biggest defender, but the ball went short anyhow and then floated to the far post, but too far. Not a good ball. I've seen Bissouma look like a world beater, but that's not the case today.
No, it's clear that although Bissouma's, I would say, probably the better of the two, better going forward compared to Pape Sarr, but today it's almost like Bissouma's been told to stay back and Pape Sarr's the one bombing forward. And we can see Postecoglou there, just deep in thought. He doesn't give much away with his expressions on the side of the pitch. We can see a Spurs legend up there. Is that David Pleat?
It could be. He's looking old if it is. Anyway, long ball booted out from Kaminski.
Because he has connections with both of these teams, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah. Ball roll forward now. Kulusevski, can he get there? Well, no, the cover's come across, and Burke just takes a sensible option there and puts it out. No, nothing fancy, no step overs or attempt to turn back on himself. Put his goalkeeper under pressure. It's a throw though for Tottenham down the right hand side. Porro will take it, and he happy to go back to Romero. Got Maddison short, Sarr in front of him. Again, your doggies, the left back's inverted, virtually playing at the edge of the box, marked by Luke Berry at the minute, but he now just going to roll back into that left-back slot. But marked by Berry, they can't get the ball to him. He's got to go back all the way to the keeper. And Guillermo Vicario picks it up. Again, Romero. And at the moment, Spurs, bit of slow play, really. Then there's a foul on Kulusevski by Doughty. Free kick taken quickly. Here come Tottenham, trying to roll around the back. Ball into the box, easily dealt with by Mengi. Again, he just put it out. Safety first. We hit 40 minutes. Chelsea have got a penalty. Or do they? Because you never really know.
Well, they've been awarded one. Whether or not they actually end up being able to take it, whether or not to the decision. Burnley have also had a man sent off in that same incident. So potentially there may still be a minute or two of video checks before that is all confirmed. But if that is the case, it's going to be a very long second half for Burnley. You would imagine if Chelsea could convert that penalty, and then Burnley are going to have to play with 10. But here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's more of the same. Spurs possession, but most of it outside the box. Luton are doing well to keep them at bay.
Yeah, they're doing all right. But again, here come Tottenham through ball. It's hard getting that straight ball. Just getting the pace on it. I thought it was a decent effort from Romero, who's played all right today, but yeah, just a bit too much mustard, and the ball back with Kaminski. Yeah, I mean, Luton fans again, they probably enjoy their half time, and you know what, enjoy it while you can. You know, if Chelsea score their penalty and Burnley are down to 10 men, well, we'll have to wait and see about that. But you know, the other results are going their way. No goals, Sheffield United, Fulham just yet. But the Blades have been pretty hopeless when I've seen them this season. You know, and I think out of all the teams that have come up, Luton have played with more guts.
Well, they've looked from the start of the season like they've had a fighting chance of staying up, whereas the other two teams, you wouldn't really have said that about them at any stage. Here come Luton now, and it's Chong brought down in midfield. It's a strong challenge there from Bissouma. Potentially that could be a yellow card as well, but for the time being, it's just a free kick. A little bit of afters here as well. Dragusin, I think, just holding onto the ball for a little bit too long, and as always, that's going to involve a bit of posturing from the players now.
Yeah, it is. What doesn't make that yellow card? Tatih Chong then, again, he's driving forward and he's brought down. There's no attempt to play the ball and he's just clobbered. You know, that's a yellow card then. What happens here, with this referee in particular, if it happens largely in silence, he's not interested in it. If a load of fans are making a load of noise, but look at the challenge from behind. You know, he's having a go at the ball, is he? But you know what? It's a stupid challenge from behind. And
then what happened after that was that I think Berry wanted to take the free kick quickly. Dragusin wouldn't give him the ball back, and then it had a little bit of. But that may well have distracted the referee from booking Bissouma in the first place.
The other point about that is that we saw Kulusevski brought down, and then take his free kick instantaneously and rolled the ball out right, and then they had an attack and a chance from that. Berry tries the same thing. Dragusin stops him. Where's the card for Dragusin? You know, or is the referee not allowing Luton to take quick free kicks, which he allowed for Tottenham? The inconsistency of all that just baffling. And
it's something that, as I say, I've made the point a few times over the months and years that there is this kind of directing of the game from the referee, which you don't want. It's almost like they're trying to sort of take the sting out of certain situations by giving decisions and trying to sort of counteract them. But Luton on the attack now. It's a deep cross here from Townsend. A strike coming in from Doherty. And I think he has got a deflection off. I thought he might have actually hit it into Chong, but I think he has hit a Spurs player. Luton will have a corner. There's been a delay with the Chelsea penalty being taken, but I can tell you that in the game at Stamford Bridge, Vincent Kompany has also been sent off now. So Burnley are down to 10. Their manager's been sent to the stands, and there's still a penalty to come as well.
Yeah, good block that by Pedro Porro, but nobody's picking Doughty up. And again, they were ball watching Tottenham. I was wondering when I saw Andros Townsend today, thinking what kind of day is he going to have. He's had a good day so far. It's the ball into the box, and well, in the end, I think it came off Berry's head last, and he just couldn't get on top of it. Looks like Chelsea eventually have scored that penalty.
Yeah, Cole Palmer is the one stepping up to take it for Chelsea. Will confirm it. We can confirm now that Chelsea have scored. So Chelsea lead against Burnley by 1-0. Burnley are down to 10 men after 2 yellow cards for Assignon, their right back. Left back. But in any case, he's been sent off, and now Vincent Kompany, with his protest about the penalty, he's also been sent off. So it's turning into a pretty difficult afternoon there for Burnley.
Yeah, that's. I I'm sure that'll be interesting, and I'm pretty sure that match day will be good tonight. It'll be very difficult to usurp Newcastle West Ham from, it's probably its rightful place in the first game, but you never know. There's big games to come, aren't they? Darren England, the referee in that Chelsea-Burnley game, by the way, another one.
A.K.A. Daz in VAR circles.
Yeah. So don't get me started. We'll be here all day. Anyway, Tottenham 0, Luton 1. Luton are making a fool out of me. Listen, I rate them, but I did think Tottenham would score in this first half. And although they've had their chances, and certainly they have, somehow Luton have held them at bay, or at least the woodwork, on a couple of occasions. But anyhow, Postecoglou looks on, with 3 minutes of added time at the end of the half, which has flown by, really. And
it's been a quick half, yeah. I've enjoyed it. It's been a good half for our fourth official, Mr. Linnington. They're starting to get some promotions, these EFL referees, I think, with the standard of our Premier League refs always being under question. So it's good to get some of the younger refs through, as Morris doing his best to try and hold the ball up for Luton. I think he just overplayed it. It's out for us, throw to Spurs right by the corner flag.
Yeah, I was talking about Andros Townsend. He's 32. You'd be, if you thought he was a bit older, I wouldn't blame you. He seems to have been around forever. At one point, I felt he was definitely England's best player when on international duty. That's a long time ago. But I was thinking, surely, and he got let down by Burnley as well, didn't he? But I was thinking, surely he has got quality, and are we going to see any of that today? And I was thinking, well, why not? Why can't he deliver? And he has. He's delivered a great ball that helped Luton get the goal. It was his little break, his little scamper down the right that delivered that opportunity. Then that next ball we saw for Doughty that was blocked by Porro, I think that's been just about second or third best chance of the game. And again, it's Townsend who's involved. Now it's a free kick and an opportunity for Luton. They've got a couple round it, but it's either going to be Doughty left-footed. Not sure it suits Barkley. Oh, he's going to leave it. So they have got an opportunity here. I think Tottenham, I don't know if the mentality's been right for them today. I think they've just been a bit too sloppy and lackadaisical. Good ball into box here. Defensive header, that's gone out for a corner kick, surely. And they're having a moan here, the Spurs players, but...
is it just a case that Spurs sort of assumed that they would just win the game, even if it was a bit of a slow start? They'll have enough possession, Luton concede a few goals, and we'll get the job done. And now that we're in the last minute of injury time, they are a goal down going into half-time. They've still got a corner to defend, and maybe Spurs are now starting to realise that there's more to this game now.
I think you do that thing where you say all the right things, guard against complacency, but I think it's been a really complacent performance in the first half. Anyway, a corner kick comes in. There's a good header away at the near post from Jagersin, and seems like they've just about weathered that storm. Although Luton looking to come back now, but then Maddison picks the ball up. He straightens up. Ball the outside of his right boot is an absolute beauty. And now Werner's on the ball from Son Heung-min. He into the box. A great cut back, and then a shot is blocked away. I think it was by Chong. He didn't know too much about that, did he? And again, that could easily have hit the back of the net. Great attacking there, maybe an element of good fortune. Here comes Spurs again, rolling around the back and into the box they go with Yves Bissouma. And then Porro keeps the ball alive, edge of the area. Again, it's Son. Just to try... he beat himself there, didn't he? And eventually he's trying to fight back and win the ball back. But the referee's seen enough for the half. At half-time then, it is Tottenham 0, Luton 1.